That's what we're dealing with. Well, it comes with a nice rear rack, 7-speed Shimano at the back, Tawny. It's cheap and cheerful, but it does what it says on the tin. That's why it's so popular. Coming along to a nice thick rear motor connector there. I don't like these flimsy ones. Nice solid chain, dual chain ring guards to stop you from losing your chain. There's your suspension mech there. Cheap and cheerful mid shock, and obviously behind there in that box is your controller. Comes with a 20 amp hour 48 volt battery, basic on off front suspension, but it does the job well. Again, 26-inch spoked front wheel, Chow Yang tyres. So we start off, we have a nice comfortable grips. That's your on off button for your light. We have a dual motor button there, and you have your horn power on, up and down for your pass. Here we have a USB connector so you can charge your phone. A nice informative screen. It's a nice screen that actually. I've seen it somewhere before. Along here to your 7-speed Tombstone gear changer, your throttle, again another comfortable grip. Duotts brake levers there. Big chunky Duotts pneumatic brakes, 2-piston. They are big though, they look huge. And there's on a 180 rotor there, look. We've got a nice solid kickstand. Yeah, like I said, in there you've got your controller and your various other bits, so adding a second battery won't be a problem. Again, 180 rotor at the front, nice big chunky hydraulic brakes. It doesn't come with these pedals. I'd put folding pedals on. It comes with nice chunky metal pedals. They're not foldable. Rear light, it's also a brake light. Nice bright front headlight as well. Obviously you can't see it in this light, but you'll have to trust me on that one. Like I said, basic on-off suspension, so it's locked or unlocked, coming down to another 750 watt motor. So that's about it. Let's go see what this big boy rides like.
So yeah, because of its weight and my weight, this is an ass shift. I'm not going to pedal, I'm just going to see what it through wheels down at. So it's on 26-inch wheels, dual motor. Well, it's not a dual motor at the moment, that's what it is. But yeah, very stable. So one of the things you got to watch out for on these bikes, are they stable? And this one's stable. And I'll tell you what, from testing it, it's got a lot of power. Right, let's do the hill climb. I'm currently in pass 4, so I'm going to bang that up to pass 5. Let's see how we get on. 2 big motors on this. And I think it's an 18.5 amp hour battery, but I'll have a put that up on the screen now. So currently doing 18 mile an hour, popping up here. We all know how harsh this hill climb is. So now, let's engage dual motor. Let's go. You can feel that power kick in. You really can. And all I'm doing at the moment is turning my legs. Wow. Fastest I've had a bike come up here, without doubt. 20 mile an hour coming up the top. Oof. Piece of cake. So obviously, I don't mind doing the bypass run with this, so let's go do that. So in 0, I've been second, it's really hard to move, really is. It's an heavy bike. If I pop it up into one, I'll get a bit of assistance. And then two, it takes a massive jump in power. Three, again, I get a massive jump in power. Four, just feels like five to me, because when I'm in five, it does that, but hit that dual motor button, look at this, it's off. Really does take off. But in zero pass, if you had to pedal this home, you wouldn't like it much. I don't know if you saw there on the screen, but the battery sag is pretty heavy when you go into dual motors, obviously. Let's turn this off. Yeah, I'm back up to 3 bars with the on-off, turning it on and off, but I've done under 10 miles and I've pretty much drained half this battery. But I'm going out today with the aim of draining the battery anyway. Alright, so most of the time you're alright just riding around in pass 2. Now, I've got this in a high gear, so I'm just turning my legs around because I'm not putting any power into this whatsoever. So, if you want to look like you're doing a legal limit and a bit more, I think this takes me on the flat up to about 18 mile an hour in pass 2, which is phenomenal really. But like I said, you can see the battery side coming up now down to 2 bars at 10 miles. That'll go back to 3, I should have thought. Anyway, let's do the bypass run. It's a nice high riding position. I do like this. I really do like this. Unfortunately, it's not the best days. We've had all this warm weather and I've been busy with work, all the fans going, and I haven't been able to get out to do much filming in the sun. So I thought I'd better get this one out of the way because I've got more bikes incoming. Because I ain't got any space left in my garage. Right, it's fine on this camber. 20 mile an hour. You can see I'm back up to 3 bars, look. And if I want to get some shift on here, I can put that into that. So I'm now in 4th, past 3, and I'm doing 20 mile an hour. If I hit that dual motor, I'm not pedaling any, well, my legs are turning round, but I'm putting now no power in. This thing shifts, look. Let's come back out of dual power. As you can see, the battery drain right down to 2 bars. Definitely shifts this thing. And then when you're at the lights, you can bang it back into that dual power just to get away at the line. And they're off. So I mean, this is a big lump of a bike too. Hell of a big lump. But as you can see, it definitely shifts. It's good fun too. Like the X24, just reminds you what you're missing. You don't have to ride around like an idiot. If you ride around normally, you'll get left alone. You'd like to hope our police have better things to do with their time, but occasionally, like I always say, you catch one bored copper having a bad day, and you're riding around like an idiot, he's going to come have a look at your bike, and then it's Mr. Confiscation turns up. Can't believe how cold it's gone. Right, 30 mile an hour, where it was. Let's do the brake test. yeah, they're all right. They're not brilliant. They do stop the bike. I'd like to see 2 or 3 rotors on this. It's an heavy bike. It's a big lump. But yeah, stopped. As you see, freewheeling, it's okay, it's great. Especially for a big lump like this. I do like that screen. I think I've seen it on something before. But you get to fly through different modes, look. Let's go back to the original range, 12 miles, 3 bars. Right, let's do the Benny Hill. So I've gone down in 13 miles, coming up to 14 miles to 2 bars. But as you know, I've been really pushing this battery. Let's see what we get. So I'm currently well, 18 mile an hour. Drop a cog. I can start to feel it now. But then we're down to the low part of the battery. Let's hit that dual motor. Oh yeah. Absolutely no problem. It's going to be the fastest I've ever gone up here on an e-bike. Down to 1 bar. That's battery sag though. That's battery sag. But it don't bode well, does it? Up to 2. So we're going to get to about halfway up this part of the hill. And then we're going to do a standing stop. And then a standing start. So battery sag's relieved itself a bit. I'm back up to 3 bars. Well, I bet that's nearer 2, and I'm 14 miles range so far. But as I keep telling you, I'm really pushing the battery on this. So let's just hit the throttle, get the bike going. I'm in 4th, which ideally should be in 1st. But yeah, absolutely no problems getting up here. Set that dual motor. I'm not doing anything. Let's turn that off again. So yeah, absolutely no issues with that. It's quite a nice high riding position, which I like, and the saddle's really comfy. The front suspension's either on or off, and when I'm out riding doing ranges like this, I tend to turn the suspension off because it can severely affect the range by up to around about 15-20%. Anyway, so I'll look round town. I am down to, well, back up to 3 bars. It keeps flicking around. Right, let's see what it's like around town. It's quite nimble actually for those big 26-inch tyres. It's really nimble. Really nice to ride. If the saddle's not to your liking, you can always swap the saddle out, but I find this has the perineum lining, so it's kind of comfortable for me and it's not smashing your perineum up. Alright, let's get down here and do the tyre grip test. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Sometimes it's not a problem with the tyre, it's me. I bottle it on some of these. I hit the brakes. Right, today we're doing the other horrible hill. Let's see how it does on here. I'm in gear 4. I'm in gear 4, past 5. Let's go up to gear 3. I'm not doing much more than turning my legs really. That's it, that dual motor. Oh yeah, they're off, look. It's going to have some records this for, not that I do timings and speed timings, I just don't see the relevance of them. But it's the quickest I've got up all the hills with this thing. And as you can probably see, I'm now down to 1 battery bar coming up that hill. That's the battery sag. And by the time I get to the lights, I expect to be down to 2. There we are at 2. I can't see that going back up to 3 somehow. It just shifts, but proves my point. You know, when you're doing those speeds that are above 15 mile an hour, or above 10 really, you're just burning your battery out. Which is the whole idea of today's test, that I get to burn this battery out. Got the usual big knobbly tyre issue that when you're going across sort of slightly knobbly ground like this, it sounds like you're being chased by wasps. But yeah, it's fine. So yeah, 26-inch wheels and tyres. They tend to have really good road manners. It's the sort of thing that I used to ride with my Cube. Now my Cube looked like this, my Cube fat bike, except it didn't have 2 big 750 watt motors on it. And it's actually a bike I did think about converting, but never got round to it. But yeah, reasonably good road manners around town. In fact, good road manners around town. Yeah, absorbs a lot of the bumps. Better than the 20s do. Probably obviously better than the 24s because you know you've got more give in those tyres. The highest tyre pressure on this is I believe 20 psi. I've got these at 19, give it a little bit more give. But yeah, I'm not going to race you. Keep looking, but I'm not going to race you. So if you're riding around on this sort of like pass 2, which gives you about 18 mile an hour, I think you could quite possibly get 30 plus miles range on this. But the thing with power and e-bikes is you want all the power that it gives you all the time, because it's just that thrill. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that you're never going to get the range that you expect to get out of it, and you're never going to get the range that the manufacturer says you're going to get out of it anyway, because unless you sort of like 6 or 7 stone wet and you're riding around in pass 1, you're not going to get that range. Let's go see what it's like off road. Let's bang up to, and that's in 2, so imagine like in 5 dual motors, and this thing doesn't care. Look. You can see all the bumps in the terrain on this, and it just eats it up. How cool is that? Yeah, it's fabulous on ground like this. It's what it was built for, I should have thought. Just absorbs all the bumps, those big 26-inch tyres. Yeah, going over the rough stuff, it's fine with it. Absolutely fine. And it's enjoyable to ride as well. It's just comfortable. And I like that. Let's see if it can get up that hill. Let's get into dual motor. It's in 5. Go up to first, then bang that dual motor on. So it's a steep hill on the grass. I was having absolutely no problems getting up here. This is that hill I shot down on the last video. Not very warm, is it? A few days ago it was summer, 27 degrees this morning. It's 11 degrees. This handles really well on the gravel. You'd expect it to, because you've got those great big 26-inch knobbly tyres. And you've also got quite a bit of grip, which is nice when you're on grass, because if you haven't got grip on the grass, it's terrible. You just tend to sort of not get any purchase on with the tyres. It does like being on the grass, this actually. It really does. It just feels normal. And this is with the suspension locked out. But where it really shines is when you hit that dual motor. You know, it loves hills. But the problem is that dual motor loves battery. So it's a bit of a trade-off. You know, what do? Do you ride round for a short period of time blasting around with the dual motors on? Or do you just have the rear motor going? The pickup on it, it's just really quick. Really is. It's probably the quickest bike I've reviewed. In fact, it is the quickest bike I've reviewed. It's not by far, but in a few aspects, it's just fast. And I like that because it just lets you act like a grown-up occasionally. As I said in my previous video about on the X24, you know, having a throttle and being able to use a throttle, you know, it just makes a difference on an e-bike, and it closes that barrier to the amount of people that can use one. These tyres are good, Chow Yang. Again, they do the job. Yeah, the fact that you can take it on, you know, this is quite a rough, moundy stuff, so, but it doesn't seem to care. Let's hit that dual motor. You know, it just shifts. In fact, scarily shifts. This is not a bike I'd give to a teenager. It's just too tempting just to mess around with it and just get yourself into trouble. That's the thing with fast bikes, the same as fast cars. A fast car can get you out of trouble quite quickly, but equally it can get you into trouble quite quickly. But yeah, this thing has absolutely no problems on the grass. But let's be fair, that's what it was built for. And it's fab. I mean, it has a few fleas, but, well, it doesn't even have a few, it has a couple of fleas, which I'll go into in a breakdown, but they're nothing major. So yeah, it's fine on, you know, this is heavy gravel. I mean, it's really knobbly stuff, and it's fine on this. I mean, if I was to keep this bike, it would definitely be getting some Tannis armour put into it. Because puncture resistant and puncture proof are two different things. But yeah, so far so good. You know, even over jagged stone like this, it's fine. It's does the job fine. I mean, some of these stones in here are properly sharp. So I'm surprised I haven't picked a puncture up yet. But it definitely shifts when it wants to. Getting dual motor mode. Yeah. Tell you what cuts in really quick, and you probably turn it off in the P settings, is the cruise control. You can see, I mean, this isn't probably the best land to be going over. It's full of divots. But on flat grass, this would be fine. Morning.
We're doing an outside breakdown today because my office is so full of work I can't move in there, so I've got piles of work everywhere and I've got all my laptops open, so we're doing an outdoor one today. Let's talk about the Duotts S26 or Duotts, I don't know, Duotts. It's fab. It really is fab. I've had so much fun doing the review, and you can tell I've had fun. That dual motor is just addictive. When you're going uphill and you hit that dual motor button and it just takes off, it's just brilliant. There's just no effort needed with this bike whatsoever. I love it. I love the fact that it's big wheels and it fits me. I'm 6 foot tall, and you can see I've got the saddle up a bit and I can still get my feet flat on the floor. It's quite a good geometry to this frame, and the mid suspension works reasonably well. It's if it was me and I was keeping the bike, I'd swap out the mid suspension for an air suspension, and maybe even go as far as swapping out the front suspension, because it works really well, but you want to take this thing to different places that, you know, properly off-road, because that's what it's built for. So I'd probably swap the front out for air suspension as well. But ultimately it works really well as it is. It's not, you know, it's not a terrible bike to ride whatsoever. It's just that it could be improved, and that's the two improvements I'd make on it. That, and I'd put better brakes on. Now the Duotts brakes that they've got on there, 2-piston hydraulic, they're reasonable, but they're not brilliant. And I'd personally swap out the rotors for 204s, and I would look at 4-pots. It's not expensive and it's easy to connect everything back up, because where that controller is, we see the controller box in the centre of the crank. You can get in there, you can put all sorts in there, you can put a blender. And that's the other thing that this needs. It needs more battery. 20 amp hour 48 volt battery, but yesterday I got in total I got about 28 miles out of it, and the battery was nearly dead. But I was really hammering it. I took it up a lot of hills. I had it in dual motor quite a lot of the time, because it was getting me from A to B so quickly, and it's addictive. It's like any sort of speed, it's addictive. Cars, motorbikes, e-bikes are the same, so you just tend to use the power that's available to you. Being conservative, if you had it in pass 3, unless, I'm not being funny, there's not a lot of difference between pass 3, pass 4 and pass 5. 1 and 2 keeps you around the legal limit. Pass 1 probably around the legal limit. Pass 2 takes you up to about 18 mile an hour, which seems to be the sweet spot. If you were running around in that and actually putting some effort into the bike, because even at that I wasn't, you probably easily get about 35 to 40 miles range out of this. But you don't, you just want to play with it all the time, and it is fun. So I'm gonna have to give it a score, and I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10. And the reason I'm giving it 9 out of 10 is because it's obviously not legal. I mean, I get pulled over on this and it's gone. But you know, it depends on what you're using it for. Personally, if I was working a night shift, this is the bike I want to get me to work and back. It's fast. I mean, 30 mile an hour on the flat's no joke whatsoever. Even on a moped, it's 30 mile an hour. And it's double the legal limit on an e-bike. It's comfortable. You know, it's really easy to ride. It's such a comfortable riding position. So yeah, it's not. It's kind of mind-blowing how fast this thing is. You put it into that dual motor and you're going up a hill, a slight hill, and it just takes off. And you're just turning your feet round. I mean, I've had it in first and second gear most of the time. It was very rare that I actually put it up down into 7th. So it's been in the higher gear range, and it's just, I haven't done any work on it whatsoever, and that's probably why I burnt the battery out so quickly yesterday. Fun with a capital F, and yeah, 9 out of 10 all day long. It would have got more if it was less illegal looking, and they do a version like this. I think it's called the F26, which has a built-in battery. It doesn't look so obvious, but when the police are looking at e-bikes, they're looking at the batteries, and if you've got a big battery on the outside, it looks homebrew. And nowadays they expect the battery to be built in, and they're also looking for a throttle that this thing's got both of those.
Yeah, absolutely fun, capital S all round, 9 out of 10. And I can't say better than that. I mean, that, like I said, those 750 watt motors, I don't know what they're cranking out at, but it's far more than 750 per motor. At its speed, this thing just, you can feel it pulling you. I've got a friend with a 20-inch dual motor e-bike, and this doesn't suffer from the pull from the front wheel that did. I actually had the Lancalese dual motor one in my garage for ages, and in the end I sold it on because I just had so many e-bikes and I just wasn't that bothered about it. But I wish I'd have kept it now, because this is just miles per mile. Anyway, next review coming up, I'm going to get on with that Ebike EP Boost, and I've got a trike coming, and I've got another e-bike in the garage that I've got to review, and then after that it's whatever comes in. I've got loads of emails from companies that want to work with me. But yeah, oh, and again, it's the same old story, you know, we want final cut and whatever else, and it's no. Just to remind you, every time you see a review on my channel, it's the same time as what the manufacturer is seeing it, because I get final cut, I get final say, and I won't take the video down after. So if it's a bad review, it's tough, but I'm trying to be fair with these reviews. Then this is just fab. You live in a country where these are legal, buy two, just in case one breaks down, you'll want to go and get the other one. Like I said, it's very easy to fit a second battery to that rack, and if you just added in sort of like another 10 amp hour battery, you're probably gonna have all the range you need for any shift. And if you're a delivery rider, this is the bike to get. It's not crap components, it's not been built in somebody's shed, it's a proper bike, and you'll love using it. That's it for now. Enjoy your week.